Need for Speed Underground was released in 2003, and for a lot of people it completely redefined what a racing game could be. It wasn't just about going fast, it was about style, atmosphere, and being part of a street racing culture that was exploding at the time. Underground became one of those games that everyone knows, and people still talk about it more than 20 years later. The first thing Underground really nails is the atmosphere. Everything happens at night, which already makes it stand out from most racing games back then. It's always raining, the streets are shiny, and the city has this moody, late night atmosphere that pulls you in right away. On top of that, you have the soundtrack, which is a perfect match for the early 2000s. You have songs from artists like Lil Jon, Rob Zombie, and Nate Dogg, which just gives the game a soundtrack that fits perfectly with the street racing theme. You just want to play the game, and after starting it, you are getting greeted by this song. Every song is a banger and has its own vibe, and many people, including myself, listen to the music till this day. The racing in Underground still holds up really well, and honestly, it's kind of surprising how good it feels even today. What makes it even better is the variety. There's a bunch of different event types, so it never really gets boring. There are circuit races, sprints, drag races, drift events, knockouts, and time trials. Circuit races are the classic multi-lap events, all about the clean lines and the consistency. But the further you get into the game, the longer some of these races get, sometimes 6 or even 7 laps. And honestly, it sucks when you drive perfectly for 5 laps and then just mess up right before the finish line. Sprint races are point to point, taking you across the city with no laps, just one straight shot to the finish line. I actually like them more because you get to see more of the city while racing instead of just going around the same corners over and over again. It's just not as repetitive as circuit races. Then you have drag races, which are all about timing your shifts perfectly and dodging traffic at high speeds. To avoid crashes you have to constantly change lanes, because one mistake and your car can get totaled, which would end the race immediately. Drift events completely change the pace, testing your control of the car as you drift around corners trying to chain combos for higher scores. To get more points, you basically want to stay sideways longer and keep your speed up. Hitting walls or slowing down too much will break the combo. Knockout races are basically like circuit races, just with extra tension. At the end of each lap, the last placed driver gets eliminated until only one racer is left standing. It makes every lap feel like a fight for survival. And then there are time trials, where you have to reach the finish line before the clock runs out. No rivals, no traffic, just you and your car against the time. Underground actually has a simple but effective story holding everything together. You start out as a new racer, entering the street racing scene. Nobody knows who you are, and your goal is to work your way up from the bottom to become the top driver in the town. Early on you meet Samantha, who is a friend that helps you getting started in the underground scene. She shows you how to get into races, what you need to do to get noticed by other drivers, and how to start building a name for yourself. As you climb higher, you face tough opponents like Kurt, who is a mid-game rival who tests your skill in his Mazda RX-7. Beating him marks the point where you're no longer a rookie, you're actually a serious threat to the top racers. Near the end you go up against Melissa, who's the girlfriend of Eddie, and Eddie is like the #1 racer and the final boss of the game. He drives the iconic Nissan Skyline GTR. The car list isn't massive compared to modern games, but it has a solid selection of cars. You have classics like the Honda Civic, the Nissan Skyline and the Toyota Supra. All cars that fit perfectly into the tuner culture of the time. The progression system also keeps you hooked. You start with slower, like basic cars, and as you win races you unlock upgrades, visual mods and fast vehicles. The constant sense of progression, making your car stronger and better looking, is a huge motivator to keep playing. One of the biggest features that made Underground stand out was the customization. For the first time in the series, you weren't just picking a car, you were making it your own. You could swap out body kits, spoilers, hoods, rims, exhausts, vinyls and of course, the neon underglow. For a lot of players, this was the first racing game where customization went beyond just choosing a color. You could make your car look completely different from anyone else, and that sense of ownership made the game really addictive. In fact, Underground is one of the main reasons car customization became a standard feature in racing games that followed. Underground hit at the perfect time. The Fast and Furious movies were massive, car tuning was everywhere, and players wanted a game that captured that vibe. EA nailed it with Underground. It was a game which made you feel like you were part of something. The customization, the night races, the soundtrack, it all was a perfect mix of everything cool about the early 2000s. The jump from the previous Need for Speed games to this was huge. Everything looked way more detailed than before. And even though graphics and gameplay have evolved a lot since then, very few racing games have been able to recreate that same feeling. That's why I still remember Underground as one of the best games in the series. And even today, people still ask EA to remake or reboot Underground. And that really shows how much of an impact it had. It's one of those games that just stuck with the people. So what's your favorite Underground memory? Was it building your first custom car? Was it beating Eddie? Or just cruising through the streets with that soundtrack blasting? Let me know in the comments. This is Next4, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.